All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is May 19th, 2026. My name is Coach Carignan, lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Let's take a peek at the market, see how I capture 5,300 with a 55K account. Let's take a peek at everything that's going on. Let's move this out of the way. All right, into the close. Got a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. Into on the 2 hour. Let's move this out of the way. Move this out of the way. On 2 hour chart, we've got sticks in the 3 riding underneath the ADMA. So we still got a 2 hour downtrend coming into the close. On the daily candle, lower high, lower low, closed under the bullish trap, but over the rising 17. All right, so we're still bullish, still in an uptrend. Let's take a look weekly, still bullish in an uptrend. Monthly, still bullish, still in an uptrend. Let's take a look at QQQ. Start off on the 10-minute chart. Into the close, we have a 10-minute downtrend. We have the sticks and the 3 riding underneath the falling 8. So we have a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. On the 2 hour chart, all right, we've got a 2 hour downtrend. You've got the sticks and the 3 EMA plotting underneath the falling 8 again. So we got the 2 hour downtrend on QQQ coming into the close. For the daily candle, lower high, lower low, closing under a bullish trap over the rising 17 in the middle of quadrant 4. That's still bullish and still in an uptrend. We have not made any lower lows on QQQ. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow's got an outside day. It's a higher high. It's a lower low. It closed underneath a bearish cross. We closed underneath the rising 17 EMA. We are, let's see if we made a lower low. No, that one's not below the 17. Okay, so we are still bullish. We're in the bottom of quadrant 4. We're bullish and still in an uptrend on Diamond Dow. Consolidating up there in quadrant 4 over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Let's take a look at IWM. And on IWM, we have a lower high and a lower low. We closed underneath a bearish trap. We closed underneath the 17 EMA, the hooking 17 EMA. We're still in the upper third, so we're still bullish. And we have not made any lower lows, so we're still in an uptrend on IWM on the daily chart. Still in an uptrend. So bullish, still in an uptrend. Let's take a look at silver and gold. Silver, lower high, lower low, closed underneath the bearish trap, closed underneath the 17. Did we make a lower low? We did not make a lower low, so we're still in an uptrend. I'll pan out here, and you can see we're in the middle, well, actually at the bottom of quadrant 3, so we're neutral, but still in our uptrend on silver. So neutral, still in an uptrend. Let's take a look at gold. Gold is a lower high and a lower low. They're still in a downtrend. They never made a higher high. So they've got gold is lower high, lower low, closing underneath, bearish trap underneath the 17, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, and they are in the upper third, so they're bullish. Okay, so they're bullish because they're still in the upper third and still in a downtrend on GLD. Let's take a look at USO. USO puts in an inside day. It's a lower high. It's a higher low. It's closed over a bullish trap over the rising 17. Top of quadrant 4 that's bullish. All right, and still in an uptrend on USO. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG got a higher low, higher high, closed over a bullish trap, closed over the rising 17, It is still in the bottom, in the middle of quadrant 1, so it's still bearish. All right, but it's in an uptrend, trying to make its way back to this 14-month high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line right there. That's UNG on the daily chart. Let's take a look at our internals. And we'll start off with internal number 1. This is market breadth, T2101. We'll zoom out here. I don't know why we're clumped up that close. Okay, so T2101, you can see we dipped a little bit lower again today. And of course, participation kind of spiked up a little bit more. So not a good sign to see participation spike up when the market's going down. So that's a bearish clue for me. All right, on the 15-minute chart, let's take a look at T2122. Well, we spent the day in the sell zone. Another bearish clue for me, being in the sell zone, camping out all day in the sell zone. Another bearish clue. And not to mention, we got a high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. So not another bearish clue right there. So bearish clue on T2122. Let's take a look at T2123 on the 15-minute. Bearish gap down, never filled by the bulls. Another bearish clue. We're under the 200, now the falling 200 SMA, and that is not where you want to be if you're going to be a bull. All right, is underneath the falling 200 SMA. And you can see right there, never filled by the bulls today. So we made lower lows, so there was no higher highs, obviously. Again, more melting down, so we are in the quadrant lines. We're still bullish because we're in the upper third, but we are not moving up. We are actually not even moving to the right. We're moving down. So we're having a pullback in the uptrend. So this is currently on the 15, T2123, bullish, but in a downtrend on the 15-minute chart. Let's take a look at the 3-bar chart, and you can see right here we're up over the rising 200 SMA. That's where you want to be if you're a bull. This is the bigger time frame, same product. And you can see where I've not made any lower lows below the 17. The first one you come to is down here. So we're still in an uptrend. We're still in quadrant 4, so we're bullish and in an uptrend. We're still over that rising 200 SMA. So that's bullish and in an uptrend on the bigger time frame, but obviously doesn't know where to turn around here. Could be any day now. We hope. We'll see. But that's T2123 3-bar chart. All right, let's take a look at FNGU. And FNGU for today is, they make a higher high. Let me see what we got here. The high is 28.31. The high is 28.33. They actually made a higher high right here. Okay, so let me see how I'm going to frame this. Okay, so they made a higher high, so they are in an uptrend, even though they didn't continue going up. They just made a higher high, and we haven't made a lower low, so we're into the close. We have an uptrend on the 15-minute for FNGU. We're under the rising 200 SMA. Again, not my place to be if I'm a bull. All right, and we have an uptrend, and if I pan way out and put the quad lines in, I think we're still up in quadrant 4. We are. So we're still bullish up here on FNGU. Still bullish. And currently in a 15-minute uptrend because we made higher highs. So that's FNGU on the 15-minute chart. All right, let's take a look at the dollar index. Take this off. Look at the dollar index, and that is right here. On dollar index, we're still in our uptrend because we got a high. We made a higher high. So we are in an uptrend in our big bear flag right here. They tried 2 times here to get out. They tried 2 times here to get out. They tried 1 time here to get out. couldn't make it. All right, so still in a bear flag, but still we're still in that daily uptrend because we made a higher high right there on the US dollar index. Let's go back to, let's see what that one looks like. Just want to put this up, push that over. Want to see if we looked at FNGU and on the daily chart. All right, so if I didn't go over FNGU, I'm gonna go over it right now. Okay, so FNGU was, yep, got the right one. So FNGU was a lower high and a lower low. Yeah, lower low, and they closed underneath a bearish cross, and it looks like they're still in the upper third, so that's bullish. Okay, still in the upper third. Actually, we gotta fix this. I'll tell you if they're in the upper third. Okay, they're still closed. They closed in the upper third, so they're still bullish. And they haven't made a lower low, so they're still bullish and in an uptrend on FNGU daily chart. All right, and what did we trade today? Let's take a look at what we traded. Let's look at guidance right here. Okay, so I wanted to trade a, let me see if that's the one. All right, here we are. Plan to trade an uptrend over the pre-market VWAP 36, all right, to the pre-market call wall absolute GEX, which was 740, all right, in the morning time. And let's see what we got for the morning. Let's take a look at SPY. And let's just take, well, we'll leave that on there. And let's take a look at on the 10-minute chart, and let's turn on pre-market, post-market. Okay, on the pre-market, post-market, you can see we got the VWAP right here. Okay, so if we got something up over VWAP, we were looking to trade that to the upside, you know, for the gap fill. All right, and then further. So then we got, so I wanted to trade, plan trade an uptrend over the pre-market VWAP, 736.10 to the pre-market call wall and absolute GEX, which would be 740. Let's look at that. Did we ever get up over 36.10? Doesn't look like we closed any candles up. Yeah, no, we did not close any candles on the 10-minute chart over 36.10. So that trade never triggered. All right. So what was the other half? All right. I plan to trade a 10-minute downtrend below 734.50 to the pre-market put wall, which is 732. And at one time today, that changed to 730. Okay. So here we are with 10-minute downtrend. You can see the sticks in the 3 riding underneath the 8. And we traded that down to 732, which was right there. You can see that bullish engulfing right there, right at 732. So that was our trade today. All right, then we saw the 1, 2, 3 triple bottom here, and we rode this. I rode it up to here, expecting a pullback, and it went on without me. All right, so I traded the uptrend as it crossed over VWAP, but I was kind of expecting a pullback, and I never got one, and it just kept going all the way back up to over the highs of that VWAP, which was 736.61 up there. So they failed to make, obviously failed to make a significant higher high here. See the high right there? They failed, so coming back down to test the bottoms or to see where they can find support. So it looks like they're trying to find support here. Don't forget, today we got NVIDIA earnings after 4:15. So that will be interesting what that turns out to be. So I'll take questions in the room. If there's any questions from anybody? We got NVIDIA earnings. Let's crank up NVIDIA, NVDA. MU, yep. Nothing happening yet. Let's look at daily chart for MU. All right, MU looks like, that looks like kind of like the death cross right there. Not the death cross, but the high. That's a like a doji, like a rest. Usually comes at the end of the move, and they didn't break the top, Sharon, on this. Okay, so their job for the bulls was to break the top of that doji wick up there, and the bears broke the bottom. So this might be done for a while. We'll see. I mean, NVIDIA is going to report. We'll see how much sympathy MU gets with the NVIDIA report. I do expect the NVIDIA report to be pretty darn good, considering Intel's was good and AMD was good. I don't see why NVIDIA's not going to perform, since it's, the main component of a lot of the AI hardware. So you may get some sympathy here today, but after that, if you do not break the highs of that wick, within the next 2 days, I would keep my stops tight until you break those highs. It needs to come out over the top of that wick. Okay, so there's MU. It's bullish and in an uptrend, obviously. And we can take the quad lines right here. And you can see the April low right there. All right, just like the indexes. And you can see you're down here and you're flirting with the lower, almost popping out of the upper third right there. Okay, on MU. So it's still bullish. It's still in an uptrend, but if you lose this, you're no longer bullish, but you're still in an uptrend. But you come back here where you're neutral, and you can still bounce off the 50-yard line right there and go higher. But that looks like kind of like an exhaustion move right there. So we'll see what happens, but that's kind of like a high flyer, and this has been going up for a while, since all of 2025, pullback, and then 2026, you got this huge ballistic rip right there, and you're still in the upper third, you're still bullish and in an uptrend. I don't like that they couldn't break the top of that doji right there, and now you've got kind of bearish engulfing. So we need to wipe out some of these bears. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bears in a row here, just pounding on the top of price. You can see you were once at 800, now you're at 7. All right, how long are they going to keep pounding? All right, it may be coming down. So just be careful with that one. It's kind of a high flyer there as far as getting into it. I don't see this as a spot to get into it. I would look for support, and it's hard for me to call that support because we haven't had any price action in this area before. So it's hard for me to call it support. It is the 33 area. It should find some legs, and you did today right there with that little green doji. But again, if you take out the bottom of that doji, showing me more bearish control. I want to see the bulls take out the top wick of that. Okay, so wouldn't be something I would want to trade. I'd rather trade the SPY than mess around with this. That's kind of too high flyer right up here, unless of course you want to drill it on a 10-minute uptrend, because that was a beautiful 10-minute uptrend right there. That was really beautiful. And then you came into a pullback and you had a beautiful 10-minute downtrend all the way back to VWAP. I'd rather trade that and that than to trade this on the daily. That looks too wonky for me right there on the daily time frame. But I do like it. I do like it on the 10-minute right there. But I don't know if they got daily options, but you can always use the Friday option. But that was a beautiful 10-minute uptrend right there over VWAP. Picture of money right there. See it? You got VWAP and the ADMA, and the distance between the two of them grows. Right there. Nice picture of money for MU. Yep. You caught that? Way to go, Sharon. Love it. Love it. Love it. I am glad that my lessons are helping people. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. All right, let's take a look at Robert's got a few here. Now, Robert, you mentioned one last night at the close. It was like MATX or something like that. Don't forget to put that one in because I didn't see it till after we shut down the camera. So Alpha closed, Robert closed ZS. And we'll look at that on the daily. Yeah, I like, it's got that wick candle right there, right into resistance, right? Right there. So there's ZS. And he closed FIG today. Nice trading. Nice trading. FIG right into that resistance up there. Okay. Big candle. He didn't want to lose more than half of that big candle. Way to go, Robert. Love that. I'm glad my lessons pay off. On the gap ups, traded SPY and closed. Okay. ARM and Marvell setting up. Let's take a look at ARM. Got a triple top, but that's not necessarily bearish. Triple tops can be bullish. You're still up over the rising 17. Everything's still kind of pushing up. You're still underneath resistance. You can see it right there, the green line. They get up and they get knocked down, and then they get up again. You heard that song? Anyways, they get up and they got knocked down. They get up and they got knocked down. Anyways, they're trying to make their way up over resistance. They're either doing that or they're eating away at overhead supply on this one. Okay, so nice consolidation up there. I wouldn't want to lose the flag, all right, the bottom of the flag. But again, if you're a student of the BYOB and you trade the bottom of the flag up to the top, bottom of the flag up to the top, bottom of the flag up to the top, you've done well if you're doing that and keeping a little bit in case you get a runner each time you take your profit into the top of the flag. This is looking good. I like the hold. It's a little long in the tooth. I don't know what they're waiting for. Some kind of moving average. Maybe some kind of report from somebody else. But that's looking good. You're right into resistance. You're struggling to close on top of it. Okay, but I still like it. They are not giving up. They are persistent they want a new high. All right, looks like they want 250. Yeah, it looks like they want 250 out of this, or maybe more. So that's looking good. What was the other one there? Marvell setting up. Yep, this is about to break out right there. We thought it was going to break out there. Okay, got to remember this was a failed breakout. All right, it went up and then it got knocked down. And then this was another failed breakout. The good news is they're not giving up. Okay, so keep it tight. All right, on that. Marvell is bullish and in an uptrend. They got a little sword candle here a few days ago. Bearish engulfing. Not quite follow through. It's not a red candle, but you can see they did get a little bit more move to the downside. Maybe that's part of that candle if you push it together. Still bullish. They closed over the trap, closed over the rising 17. Marvell still good. The only thing I don't like about Marvell is here's the baseline breakout, Okay, and then they lost it. They went back to the bottom of the flag. They found support. Definitely would not want to get below that big green candle. That would be my stop, 30 cents underneath that, or 20 cents underneath that. That big green candle, would not want to lose that. So hopefully you can get some follow through on that today. That one is setting up for, I like how it bounced off the bottom of the flag here. I like that. And close Fig, close Reddit for a small loss. Reddit, I'm on the daily chart. Yeah, Reddit was a tough one. You already had a double top, and they couldn't hold the upper third, and you got caught underneath this high anchored VWAP, and you got a red candle today. They're still melting up. It's just there seems to be no zest in their move. You know what I'm saying? There's no like expediency or zest. You know, there's just urgency going on there. It's too much melting and meandering right here. So small losses are good. Congrats on taking a small loss, because that's a whole lot better than taking a big loss. All right? So, and I mean that in the kindest way. All right? That you had the fortitude and the wisdom to shut it down as a small loss. And that's why I say it that way. You like energy? Okay, Sharon's got one. She wants to look at Mongo Bongo, MDB, and this one. It's got an inverse head and shoulders, Sharon, and this is picking up on a recovery. Here's your 2026 high. All right, so let's just take the quad lines and put them in there. There's your 2026 high. You are recovering here. You're in an uptrend. I like it. You pulled back. You made a little bit higher low. I like it to go higher. Just right now, you've got an uptrend. I would not want to lose that uptrend. That's looking good. The only thing I don't like, you got the sword candle right here, and that usually means a rollover right there. Not necessarily. So you want to see price take out the tip of that sword. Now look, you had a wick here, and they took out the high. You had a wick here, and they took out the high. They got a wick here, and they took out the high. So you got a wick on that doji, and they took out the high. Wick on this spinning top, and they took out the high. Just showing you they've been able to perform. You got to decide whether you're willing enough to stick it out to see if they can take out the high of that. If you took profits into that sword candle today, congratulations. Well done on the trade. For me, entering with a sword candle would not be a great plan of action for me. I would rather see it come back to, see that wick right there and the 8 EMA when they kind of line up right there, right at 315, 316 area. I would rather catch it there, and that way I can have like a tight stop underneath the bottom of that tail right there. I'm not sure if you're in it or you took profit or you're still holding it, so or you want to get in it. But I would wait for the pullback to the 8 EMA. That's just me. I'm not a bottom picker, but I do like a good trend, and I'm looking for that 8 EMA to hold. So you got the catch right here. Nice catch. And I would wait for a pullback, somewhere in between the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA, somewhere in this area right in there, about 315, 316 area right there. Okay, if you want to get in it, or if you're in it, for me, that'd be a little profit taking place right there with the sword today. You got in at 230. Oh, way down here. Oh, you're doing great. You're doing fantastic. All right, so it's still in an uptrend. Nothing's broken. You just have the sword candle. That's it. Okay? And nothing says they can't wipe out that sword candle. Look what they did to all these wicks here. Okay? You are approaching the midpoint. Okay? That is a target for a lot of traders. Okay? I don't know if you were at Rick's presentation last night. I think he's got it recorded. He talked about the midpoint being a target, or a logical target. All right, if you can get price to get up there and hold. So I would be looking for this to hold up there. Yeah, nice trading on MDB. You did well. All right, so the pullback, that would be a target right there to take some profit. All right, and then pull back, look for a reload on minor supports. Now I like them. I like them when they rise up, pull back to minor support, and J hook up and make another higher high. That's what I like. And you can see right here we've got kind of a low right here, and we came up, and we still have not pulled back to minor support. Okay, you notice that? And I'm just saying that pullback may be coming after the sword candle to find the minor support, and then J hook off of it and make another high. Okay, so don't be surprised if that's what they have in store, is to come back here and make a bounce off of minor support. That's the top of all of this consolidation, and then loop around and go up and make a higher high. So you notice they didn't pull back. Now that's what I like. That's what I like. I like to see pullbacks to the minor support, and then J hook off of it and rip and make another higher high. And I'm just going to say that MDB doesn't really do that often, and that's one of the ones Sonny likes to trade MDB. He's always asked me about MDB when he was in the room, and I never liked MDB because it never did what I want to see out of it. And it was a pretty good performer when he was asking about it. I like pullbacks to the minor support. And notice all through here, it rarely does that. It rarely pulls back to minor support and then J hooks up there and makes a higher high. Now here we pulled out to major support of this consolidation, but it did J hook up, and that looks like an earnings right there, and they ripped and made a higher high. Okay, so for that reason, MDB has never been a favorite of mine to trade because it never performed in the manner that I like to trade or what I'm looking for. On the way down, it works perfect, okay? Notice on the way down, it comes down, it goes up, comes down, pulls back, see the minor resistance, and then dips and makes a lower low. Pulls back, see right there, the resistance, which once was support, pulls back to it, rolls over, and makes a lower low. On the way down, it works. But on the way up, it never seemed to work for me, not on the daily chart. All right? I could never find it to actually happen on the daily chart. And that's what I like. I like a stock that does exactly what I just said. Goes up, makes a higher high, pulls back to minor support, and then J hooks off of it and rides up and makes an even higher high after that. All right? Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, those are the easier ones to trade when they give you that pullback to the minor support. All right, and then they J hook off of it and make a higher high. And MDB never does that. it does on the way down, okay, where see it goes down, pulls back, right there. See that? That would be my minor resistance, tags it, and then rips, drops, and makes a lower low. See, but on the way up, it just never seems to get that done, which makes it a difficult one to trade. You're welcome. Robert says he likes the setups on XOM. XOM. And double bottom here like that, ripping over the W pattern. A nice rip. Yeah, like that. Beautiful. That's you're free for takeoff, okay? All the way up to that wick. That breakdown candle high right there. Okay, that looks beautiful. Like that. Double bottom right here. Like that. A lot of consolidation. It was showing the bearish head and shoulders. Like to see this decapitate the head. Negate that bearish head and shoulders pattern. I like that. I like, see it. You got up on top of that resistance. We talked about this before. You had 5 candles there showing you the resistance. And we popped up through. Remember we asked for this a few days ago when we were talking about it. We want to see it produce a whole candle up here on top of the support. And look, it did what it was supposed to do. Now, it's kind of breaking up right now. It may just move over to the right. And if it does, that's okay. You just want it to hold on top of those 5 candles right here. Okay? If it breaks out and then pulls back, that would be normal, but you just need it to hold on to the support line right here on the top of those 5 candles. This did exactly what I asked it to do, didn't it? Remember we talked about this. I want to see a whole candle form over the support area, and lo and behold, it did. And now you're getting a little breakout right here. Don't be concerned if it kind of pulls back to the ADMA. That would be normal. All right, and then maybe consolidate for 2 or 3 days, and then J-hook out of there on some moving average that comes up from underneath it. So XOM, like it. CVX. Another one's doing the same thing, Robert. Love it. Love it, okay? Love that whole candle. See the 5 candle hold right there? Love that whole candle right up there. And don't be surprised if they put in, just consolidate over to the right. And you see 5 candles in a row that are right on top of these 5 candles, but they're over here instead of over here. Yeah, nice. CVX is setting up. Yep, I like that. I like that they got on support and they're going to hold up there. They got 1 candle. Okay, now I want to see 3 more. That's it. 2 more, 3 more. Show me they can hold that higher ground. That would be a show of strength. You want to see the boys plank, all right? Show off the guns, show off the muscles. You want to see them hold that higher ground. VLO. VLO, nice breakout on VLO. Love that one. Got a full candle up on the support. There's another one. All that energy looking good today. All right. Nice breakouts over the resistance. You can see lots of hammering away. Another 5 candle hold right there. Looking like everybody got the 5 candle hold. And you're up on top of it. I love it. This is great for an uptrend. Now they can go over to the right, or they can keep going up. I'm fine either way, just as long as they don't come down. Okay? You can keep going up or go over to the right. Prefer if you go up a few more times and then pull back and hit the minor support and then J-hook and make a higher high. That's what I really like to see, is like 5 more candles up or 4 more candles up, and then pull back to the minor support and J-hook up and make a higher high. That would be nice on any one of those. VLO, XOM, CVX. Yeah, CVX. Yeah, or VLO. Okay, let's take a look at light. Okay, light's still in an uptrend. Okay. Okay, this was, I don't know what kind of splits they're doing with this thing, but let's just take a look at the obvious. All right. 12 months ago, the stock was $52. Today, or earlier this week, or last week, it was over $1,000. Okay? Incredible performance. Okay? This one pulled back to minor support right here and ripped and made a higher high. But now we're pulling back to minor support again. There's the support. I wouldn't want to lose the support. And you're currently kind of pulling back here. If they can get back over here and hold, that would be nice. But then you've got the bearish head and shoulders is forming. Think about it. This would be left shoulder. This would be head, and whatever forms over here to the right becomes the right shoulder. And then you're looking for inspiration from institutions and bulls to take out the head. This is looking like a high flyer here. I don't know how much higher it can go. It's definitely working on an uptrend right there. You can see the bounce on the trend line right there. I would want to see some follow through with that right there on that. Are you looking to get in or looking to get out or looking to manage? Light has hot optical photonics technology for AI data center. Okay. So they'll be working with Corning. Yeah, they're obviously doing well. Right there. I don't know if NVIDIA kind of rolls over. I think they may drag light with it. Okay? If NVIDIA rolls over. If NVIDIA rallies, still no report yet? Am I on the wrong day? Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow's the earnings. Okay. So NVIDIA reports tomorrow night. Yeah. Wednesday night. Okay. So keep an eye on NVIDIA. They could drag that light technology down because they're the ones that, they're the hardware that's going to be using the optical photon that's going to send the light waves, which sends the data through those glass fibers that Corning's putting together. Oxy equals W setup. Yes. Still waiting for that to get on top of the 5 candle hold here. Okay. I like that it's not giving up. It's moving up, but why can't it get up there? All right. Not as strong. Let's look at it. Definitely not as strong as XOM, CVX, and VLO. Right. All right. You want it to show you strength. VLO, XOM, and CVX showed you strength. This one, not quite. It's a lot cheaper than the others, though. I'll tell you that. Yeah, a lot cheaper than VLO. A lot cheaper than XOM. A lot cheaper than CVX. Just not performing as well as those other three. Kind of focus on the other three. For me, that would be better plan of action than to mess around with this one that can't do what the other three did. Yes. Yes, they will. But it's looking good, but it's definitely not as strong as the other three. All right. Anything else? Thank you, too. All right, traders, everybody have a beautiful day. I'll see you all tomorrow at 8 in the morning. We'll do it again. Thank you.